The Diploma in Management is often seen as a springboard programme, that it has a very wide audience in many ways, which provides a really rich environment, to be honest, of everyone that comes on the programme, because you get public sector, private sector, small, large, people running their own businesses, people within organisations. So in terms of the calibre of discussion, what comes into the room, it actually adds a degree of vibrancy to the topics, because it brings them to life. It takes them off the academic page and into, but how would we apply this in this organisation? So I think that whilst everyone comes from a very different angle, they all, get an enrichment, if you like, from some of the topics that are discussed in the room. I think what's really appealing about this model, and I think what gives a lot of individuals a more positive view in a way, is that there are no exams. It's not exam-based, it's not about testing whether you can go through an exam process. It's much more about, can you relate the tools that we're going through an academic process to a particular case study? And then towards the end, can you do an in-depth study in your organisation? But not in a separate compartment way. It's, can you look at it in an integrated, so it's threading it together. And that's quite a valuable process to see, because they start perhaps with a compartment, and then when they get to their organisational audit towards the end, you can see it starts to move where strategy affects marketing, which affects HR, and seeing the connections is what it's all about. I think that the fact that there are no exams, and the fact that what we're looking for is continually practical application. Can you take the model? Can you take any particular methodology, and how can you apply it into your organisation? I think that there is a very pragmatic approach. The idea and the intention is that everything is backed up by academic rigour, and the way I always say to anybody coming on the programme is, I always take a three-strand approach. So we want them to achieve the academic dimension of why they've come. We also want the organisation to benefit, so there has to be something that's in it for the organisation. And the third piece, which for me wraps around the whole thing, is that there's something in it for the you, so that by the time they leave the programme, I'm hoping that they don't end up exactly the same way they arrived. So it's not a tick box exercise. It's not, I've done this diploma, now I can quite credibly take my place at any management table and speak with a degree of authority about any of the topics within any organisation. But it's also about, in any situation, they won't be opening an academic book when they're talking about teams, when they're talking about leadership, when they're in the space of doing. And therefore, for me, that final piece is about integrating it inside, so that their internal dimension, they absorb the internal competencies, so that it's something that changes them, that it becomes part of who they are, that they can't fail to look at something on, whether it's organisational behaviour, whether it's finance, that they are going to approach something quite differently.